Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Red Parrot channel. I am your host, Mary Ellen. This is an early morning episode of slow stitching. I don't often use this episode category, and I think I need to start using it a little bit more because I am starting to accumulate projects that are either hand stitching or machine stitching or some combination of both. And this is a wonderful place to stay, as my people would say, accountable to myself. So let me catch you up on what I have been doing, and I'm going to keep that like that. So, ICAD, remember I said that I was trying to do a seam a day for ICAD as well as the index cards, and I have sort of kinda used that as an opportunity to get back on the horse of doing a very long project. Oh my god, I'm picking bits just to make myself calm, relaxed, I don't know. So I have been working on a Boro inspired coat. The Boro inspired coat is made from thrifted jeans, thrifted linen duvet cover, and is largely, it is 100% me wanting to have some very specific swag for, this is the crest of the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays is the Major League Baseball team for Canada. We only have the one, so it is the Toronto Blue Jays, based in Toronto. For those of you who may not be aware, super happy to be a Blue Jays baseball fan. Swag is expensive if you go and buy it, and it is not, you can only get what you can get, if you know what I mean, and that is a very narrow option set. So this is, I'm trying to make a coat using thrifted stuff. This crest is kind of what I'm going for, and there is Boro inspired. So that I think now you are sufficiently caught up. Let's show you the coat. I hope you can see. I think I might have to stand up for this to make sure that you can see what I am showing you. So here is the coat. So far, it's not done yet. I need to hang the hanger up. There we are. Okay, dokie, smoky pokey. Can I do this? Does this go this way or that way? Ooh, there we are. I'll go back once we get going here. And I think I need to take one of my layers off because the sleeves are getting in my way. So here is, I'm going to sort of pull this up so you can see. Can you see? So here's the sleeves. And the sleeves are deliberately like about there so that it is shoulder seasons, if you know what I mean. It could be a spring, could be a fall, could be even like a cool winter evening, a cool summer evening kind of thing. So you can see, and it goes down to here. So this is the bottom, that's the top, the front, and then that's the linen lining. And so far I've been able to sew the lining to the oh yeah, okay, I completely failed to show you this part. Let's do this because it's a higher contrast. So all of this is hand stitched Boro inspired lines, just straight up and down, no particular um, uh, uh, thought, maybe that's the word, thought, in terms of doing anything at all. But there's that, and then that, and then I kept the sleeves plain. And what I want to do eventually today is do probably 3 lines of this kind of stitching all along here to anchor. Now the back is the big deal, because there. So that is not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's bring it up a little closer so you can see. So you can see what I have wrought. Did I just hit that? Yeah, is that better? No, it happens because I moved. Well, we'll fix it once we get back into the close-up stages. So what has happened here? Well, maybe I should do that. Ooh, that's better. Yeah. Okay, so all of the baseball seaming here is stitched, and then everything else is appliqued or appliqued. And then the Canadian leaf looks like it is shadowed, and it is because I have used 2 different red fabrics, one slightly off lighter and or darker than the other one. And from a distance, oops, let's go to the distance again. It air quotes looks right. Let's go back in. Sorry, I'm probably making you seasick. Here we are. And then the whole back is also seamed, already stitched, slow stitched this way, and put together with bits of thrifted old jeans. There's some pieces here which look kind of worn, and I have, I don't know if you can see, I have reinforced the back of that because that's probably going to wear, and it's fine. I mean, the Boro style is that feeling of being worn and used and broken in and repaired, and it is that sort of vibe. If vibe, design, style, maybe call it that, I don't know. So anyways, now you are duly caught up, and now I have to do these. So what do we have for equipment? Well, I've got my embroidery thread. These are the threads that are specific for this project. And I've got all my little bits. At one point I was thinking about using a chain stitch as a way of being able to do the embroidery, but it's just all sort of stab satin seams. I have my bits of stuff, so I've got scissors. Oh, I've got 100 pairs of scissors, 2. There's thread. I have a bunch of thimbles. This is the one I'm currently using. And then needles that are an absolute bit of a wreck. And I also have this, which is a basket of less favored washi tape. So one of the ways in which I was able to create such good lines is I was doing this on a table, and then I was drawing basically a line. I wanted, it's not necessarily the way to do this, but it is a method to be able to make this super even, and I wanted to just have that feeling. So it's not so random, and you know, you do you, I'll do me. And it has been a very long while since I have done this, so I can't remember. I think it was a 1/2 inch. I was trying to be a 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Yeah, so these are like 1/2 inches. So next bit is, where do I put this 1/2 inch? So if I go 2 inches in, I can do a half, a half, a half. Or, see, if I do that, that might look a little nicer. I think. Or I can do a 1/2 inch, like that. No, I like the space better. Well, let's do it with the space, and if we don't like it, we'll just add another row later. How's that? Now then, it would be super swell if I could, ooh, that's not. If I could find a Rolo tape that is 1 inch. So far, the answer to that is no. How about you? You're going to be 1 1/4 inches? Look at me with my 1 1/4 inches. Did I do that? Just to have a tape? Okay. Oh, that's 1 inch. It's very nice tape, but not for today. Okay, and then we'll worry about the halves later. But then I've got these clips that I've got to fight against. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start this underneath. And I did press this. I shall let the court know in advance. There. And like I say, you don't need to be this precise if you don't want to be. You're allowed to do you. Okay, so 2 pins should be good enough. What was I doing here? So next question is how I think, yeah. So I was doing, because this is a coat, I was doing this at thick strand level, which is why this accompanies this box. Let's get somebody that can cope with that. Try you. Okay. K3N does a lovely stitch and witter, and I don't know that I can do 2 things at once. So I may just be stitching or stitching and the occasional chatting, but I am really grateful for your company. There we are. And then this, because I know I'm going to need it. Okay, so step 1 for Boro is they do not do knots. So you will see inside, no knots. No knots anywhere, because knots, if you have enough of them, it's like little seeds pressing up against you, and you don't kind of want that for a garment. So what they do, what the tradition is if I am going to ultimately be sewing in that direction, I am going to do 2 or 3 stitches in this direction, loop back, and then carry on. So essentially what you're doing is like a long J, if that makes any sense. Okay, are we ready? Just go. There's your problem. Okay, so far so good. Practically done. Oh, this goes through, not bad. Some of this was just like 4-ply because of the seams folded back. And that was not at all enjoyable. Got a new jar. The jar that I had to store those, not quite big enough, and I have tipped it over more times than I want to declare. Trying to keep the stitches even, but not so concerned about it so as to impede progress. It'll all sort itself out, if you know what I mean. And then we're on our way back. So that's through some additional stuff. And the whole pliers thing I got from Ariane Zurcher. She is, among other talents, a jeweler. And she had a lot of the jewelry kind of appliances available to her when she started doing embroidery. And she does, what does she call it? Improvisational embroidery. She just like does a thing. And there isn't like necessarily a pattern. She does some really gorgeous work. And just cut off the right one here. She was having difficulty with the moving of the thread. Oops. And then she realizes, like, oh, wait a minute, I can, there. I can use my pliers to pull it through. And I saw her do that and went, ooh, that's a great idea. So there's a couple other things that I have underway in terms of stitching. So maybe I make this as sort of a Saturday morning thing for me, because I really have got to get some of these projects done. For no other reason that I get to do more projects if I get these done. There. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. think we ought not to get so attached to perfection that it gets in the way of progress. Oops. So there's another super exciting project that I have got arriving. So this is a deep cut for this channel. I have, I think, previously talked about Costume Con as being a convention of costumers, and it's not about the costume so much as it is about the making of the costume. So this is full of absolute, makers of things. Anyways, very catch you up on the gossip. We were supposed to have a convention this year. This year's convention got canceled. At every convention, that's where the bid for the following year's event happens. And because of no convention, no event, and so they are going to do another virtual event. They did a virtual event during COVID where you basically are submitting your work via video. And there's a whole bunch of different kinds of competitions that you can have, and they're currently going to run two. One is Fashion Folio, which is you're designing and possibly making the design, or somebody else is making the design. So they are inspired by your drawing, and then they go ahead and make something. And or something called the single pattern competition. And SPC, as it is often referred to, is the convention will name a couple of retail patterns readily available, and the air quote trick or the challenge is go make this pattern, use all the pattern pieces, and don't necessarily make this garment. So for example, it's a skirt pattern and then you make an elaborate Little Red Riding Hood shawl, something along those lines. Some of the costumers are like extraordinarily good at what they do. Like I can't even perceive of the things that they eventually make out of the pattern. And you can also make the pattern. You can make the pattern and you can change the materials, you can change the methodologies, you can quilt it, you can create a visual story, let's say. So when I have a coat, which I call my Loki coat, L-O-K-I, as in the Marvel character. And so it was to make a coat. And I used the coat pattern as the base, and then I used the character and Loki's black and white and gold costume as inspiration. So, very, very exciting news, and also a reason why we need to pitter-patter, let's get at her, get some of this stuff finished. I have arriving the pattern. And so they have done, there's a place called folklore.com, which is folklore patterns. So traditional costumes and or historic costumes. And they have picked 3 that you can choose from. And the only one that really, and this is okay. I mean, they pick 3 so that it is accessible to, or suggestive maybe, of gender, ability, age, all of those kinds of things, so that there is as few restrictions as possible, which I super appreciate, because making and costumes are for everyone. In case there was any doubt of where I stood on that issue. Anyway, so it has arrived, and I missed the pickup. I think I was in the back washing out some of my dye materials yesterday, which bummed me out. But you know what? Shop opens at 9:30 today, so you know where I'm going to be. There we are. Can I make it from there to there and not be a wreck? Ah, sure. Oh, we even got enough thread too. Look at us. So I will bring you along if you are the least bit interested. And even if you're not, at least you'll know what I'm talking about, and you can choose to, okay, take all these out, choose to pass or not as you see fit. Oh, that feels better. Okay, wait, what am I doing? I'm going backwards. So I'm ending the same way that I began, and that is doing some backward stitching for a bit. Yeah, it looks a little thicker, but that's fine. Oh, I had K3N made such an interesting comment on my last dye video. And she said, if you're going to do anything with this stuff, you might want to do, depending on what you're going to make, you might want to do a sun test. And very wise suggestion. No issues at all with that. My thought, however, was, well, I want these colors to persist, like be good. And then I realized, what did I realize? It was so interesting. The thing that makes the handmade or hand-dyed dye objects interesting is their ephemera nature, their fleeting nature, that it may fade over time, and the industrial that will stay forever, because it will stay forever because it's made with petrochemicals or whatever. Yeah. It's okay. We don't need to worry. Yes, queen. All right, so I'll do this side. And I'm going to turn the whole coat over so that I can do the sleeve this way, because that seemed to make my brain happy. I don't think I captured that statement particularly well, but there was that notion of fading makes the handmade more attractive somehow. Because it's in the fading that we see the age, I guess, or see the wear. Because what do jean manufacturers do? Okay, there's your problem. That's a bit better. All right. We have another pin. Two all the time. Oh, come on. That's true. Here's what we can do. I'm a numpty. I wonder how many of you were yelling. There, it's a little better. Okay. This is done. So, destined for orts. Oops. Wow. So I try and do hour, 45 minutes to an hour videos just so that it's enough time, not too much, not too little for both of us. To get to that one seam was 30 minutes. There's way too few O's in the slow stitching. So I want to go this way, I think. I think I do. I think. Yeah, more or less. All right. You do you. Oh, stop. I don't think the traditional Japanese way has all of this preoccupation with measuring for a whole pile of reasons, one of which is that they are made by people who were doing this on the regular and therefore had a skill set that's reached far beyond me. And I think they had a much tighter, less distance between stitching lines. Okay, that's not ideal. Yeah, okay, you can see. Now is the right time to check that. I'll be okay. I say that with a mild amount of sarcasm. Last night I made a stir fry and completely forgot to make rice. It's like, well, that was a light meal. I don't know why that happened. It's like, oh yeah, did you make the rice? Nope. Alrighty. Well, that could be why it felt like a light meal. Does not need to be perfect. Carry on. So I'm trying to think about when this garment is due for a costume con, and I don't know the answer to that. Can we go like a couple, just without a pin? Look at that. There we are. It's really quite beautiful out today. The heat the heat dome is finally dissipated. And it's gorgeous, cool mornings. And Miss 4 on the floor, Gracie, is so much happier. Oh, I knew that was crooked. I knew it. I knew it. Still crooked. Come on, you can do it. Here we are. That's better. The heat just, well, heat wipes her out, wipes all the humans out. Even if you are in an air-conditioned space, that air conditioning there's a constant noise to it. There is like different kinds of air circulating, and depending on what you have your thermostat set at, it's less hot than outside. But if outside is extreme, you probably have the temperature set at something higher than you normally do, just because there's very few air conditioners can actually get the heat down to what we would call normal room temperature, because outside is so unspeakably hot. Look at me being all kinds of free. Okay, see that little gather there? I don't know if you can tell. I might be able to do it in the light. I don't want those, so you can pull it too tight. You can just do that from time to time. One of my knitting buddies, I'm going to sneeze, pardon me. Sorry about that. One of my knitting buddies always says to stop and admire your work frequently. And that way you're going to be able to see things as they develop or not, as opposed to just bashing on, not looking, not checking, because you want to make it's sort of inevitable that you're going to make a mistake. And what you want is that frequent checking, so that you discover it early. Oh, home stretch. So I have vague thoughts about what I want to do for the Costume Con outfit. And vague thoughts does not mean that that's what will happen. Oops. But it does mean that there's a starting point, which is always very exciting. So I'm trying to think of what other things that I have on the go that need some kind of hand work. So I have I got a lot of garments on the go. Some of them hilariously related to baseball. So quite often they will do garment giveaways. So a jersey or a t-shirt or something like that. And they do one size fits all. So that is fitting everything from a little 5-year-old to I think like an XL male. And so they make it all XL, which means that if you are not that size and you want it fitted, you need to do some kind of adjusting. And I do love a fitted garment, or a garment that at least has the right scale. So I've got a couple of those that I've got on the go. This coat is the thing that is, ow, gosh, pins are sharp. There. Didn't do that with the other one, but oh well, is what it is. It does not need to be perfect. Nobody is looking at the coat this closely ever again. Unless I get accosted by one of my pals who, so I've got baseball buddies, as you do, who are absolutely aware of this project. And as soon as I debut a coat, okay, I don't need any more than that. Let's stop there. They will do, I think, some fawning. Or like, oh, let me see. Because they are also makers. And I know, makers finding makers in the crowds. How does that happen? Well, this is how it happens. You wear something like this, and the maker goes, oh, did you see that lady over there, that guy over there? Okay, so there we are. That's what we've got, which looks, I think, a great deal better, but would look more better if I had 2 more rows. I think. Just looks a little bit more finished. And so, now then, we can go back to this. And I don't need that size. What I need is a 1/2 inch. This is 1/2 inch. Okay, don't need to look farther than that. So what I want to do now, it's just going to be way easier. I am going to just lay that down like that. Sew along that and then do another line. Do we want to do that now? I suppose we can get started now. Come here. Okay, I don't need quite as much, but it's fine. It's so funny to me how we get so, and I mean, you've seen I have about 3 orc jars on the go at the moment. Oh, that is so rude. I don't know if you can see that. That is a knot where they have joined the this to the that. That is totally useless. Now then, we're going to be playing chicken now with this. Oh, that not annoys me. I want a discount. There, okay. Pardon my fat head. Ooh, yeah, this might not go. I might not be able to reach it. We're going this way. And so I can, if I did like the stitch here, stitch here, stitch here, I start to create like ridges. And so you'll see here that if you go along, they're kind of the same, but they're also kind of not, like they're offset. And I did that deliberately so that you'd have like a smooth fabric and not like the styled ridges. So we're going to try and do that. Did I finish that other thought? I'm not sure that I did. Come on, you can do it. Can't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, we're so precious about like, oh, it's a little piece of thread. It's like, if you go and buy that thread, it's like not expensive. But we are careful about our materials, and I do appreciate that. Okay, let's do a little bit of a pre-stitch trim there. Yep, that's right. Oh goodness. So waiting in the wings for this garment, once I get this done, is the sewing in of a collar. And it's going to be a fairly wide collar. It is going to add a little bit of breadth. And I have to decide what I want to do for the hem. Part of me just wants to leave all of the threads and bits hanging down and do some kind of treatment that leaves the edges rough. Kind of like that deliberate styling, I guess. See how much faster it goes once you get your first line down. Where's my tape? Where's my tape? Okay, here we are. Yep, and we're okay. My hand is getting tired, so I'm relying more and more on that to pull it through. Also, I'm doing way more stitches than I did before. might have to look through my costumes. Give it a bit of a cull. There's, as with all things, when you start learning how to do something, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I can do way better now. And then you have your, the first couple of costumes you did, it's like, oh yeah, now I'm figuring it out. And others that are just, oh, you know what, this was a fun thing to, they call it, what do they call it? Closet costumes. Basically, you go to your closet and you just bash together something that has a rough feel of this, that, or the other thing. And I think once you start doing this for a while, that starts to become easier and easier because you have sort of basic pieces. I used to joke with my friends that all good costumes starts with a white shirt. Oh. Meaning the white shirt is the base, and then we do something super complex. Okay, I just need to do like that so I can see. What am I doing? Up, under, wow. Are we fine? That's gonna be a large stitch. Am I gonna be okay with that? Sure. Ooh, we're gonna have much less thread left, which we knew going in was gonna be the case. Okay, where's the edge here? Okay, there's the end. Not gonna lie, the washi peel, one of the most fun parts of this. Where are we at? There. There. Okay. Okay, so we got an hour. An hour, we got 3 done. So I might continue on with this now that we've got a little bit of a start. Which has been super helpful to me. Okay, there we are. Snizzers, there we are. So, what have we wrought? We have wrought. Yeah, the multiple looks much better than the single. This will make it look like it fits. That's good. Okay, so that is all for now. I'm going to try and make this slightly more regular as an episode segment because I need to do some sewing. Anyways, and I will continue with the other mayhem. Let us be secure and confident in that knowledge. So for now, please take very good care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Always love you lots, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.